So complexes are feelings, thoughts, beliefs, memories, and attitudes that cluster around a main theme or topic. So in the middle of the complex, there is a specific subject or a theme, and then constellated around this are feelings and thoughts and attitudes and memories and beliefs that are associated with that subject or theme. So if we look at this image at the bottom, this is a good enough depiction of what a complex is. You can see that in the middle of the complex, there is a core emotional experience. So around this, or it can be multiple experiences. And around this experience or experiences, there are memories that are linked to it, there are images linked to it, there are beliefs linked to it, and there are emotions linked to it. And so this forms its own little system in the psyche. This becomes a little entity within the psyche, and it is autonomous. It does its own thing. So it is autonomous because we don't have any control over what sort of complexes we develop, how they develop, when they become activated. Complexes are automatic. They are automatic reactions to some emotionally charged content that is linked to past experiences. They are also a fabric of ideas that are affectively toned, or they are ideas weaved together that have some sort of emotional theme underlying them. So complexes are often formed from early experiences, and typically when we're talking about complexes, we're talking about negative complexes, although you can have positive complexes. So what you have is an initial experience that is emotionally charged and presumably something that was uncomfortable and that you didn't like. And then this forms the complex and the thoughts and beliefs that are linked to the complex. And then once this is formed, whenever you experience situations that touch that complex or trigger a memory that activates this complex, you begin to feel similarly as you did to the experience that initially formed the complex. So even if the experience or situation is that triggers the complex, that triggers the activation of the complex is different than the one or the ones that initially formed the complex, you are still going to experience it like it is something similar that is happening. It is going to shape your perception of what you're experiencing. You are going to see and perceive and experience and apprehend through the complex. So if we talk about some examples that people probably have heard of, there's an inferiority complex, a victim complex, an authority complex, a mother or father complex. So the thing about a mother or father complex is that everyone has this to some extent. Even if your parents were not in your lives, there are people that are figures that are in a mother or father position in a symbolic form, even if this is just like a teacher or a coach or something like that, because these are archetypal themes, mother and father, and all complexes form around an archetypal core. And I'll talk about archetypes in the next few slides, so this will probably become more clear. But if we were to make this idea of a complex more clear, so if we take someone with an inferiority complex, so let's say that this inferiority complex formed from, let's say, second grade, early on during childhood, and that the core experience happened in gym class when a child, let's say it was a boy, was picked last for dodgeball or some sort of game they were playing. And not only was he picked last, but his classmates were also making fun of him, making him the butt of the joke, or talking about how bad he was at whatever game they were playing. And his reaction to this was to feel less than, not good, alienated, unworthy, and then these thoughts were associated with it that I don't belong, that I'm not good enough, and this experience and the memories get seared into the psyche and it forms this complex, an inferiority complex. So as the child ages, as the boy ages, he will have other experiences that touch on this complex, that strengthen the complex, and he will start to identify with this inferiority complex. So this complex can become triggered even in situations where no one is purposefully trying to cut him down or make him feel inferior. So it could be something like someone not paying enough attention to him. Like he and his friends are talking in a group, and then the friend he is talking to starts a conversation with someone else in the group, and then this triggers the complex and he starts to feel left out, not important, worthless, and inferior. So this is the complex being activated, and this carries on into adulthood in similar experiences. And you can think of experiences where this complex would be activated.